say you're afraid, you're going to attract that to your reality. You're going to bring that fear right directly to you. So if we can change that fear and know there's nothing to fear, then that's what we're going to experience in our life.
You know, I was taught that fear is forgetting everything's all right. F-E-A-R.
Well, see, they're using metaphors again. Now, fear has helped me a great deal. I was on the side of a glacier, and I was slipping in an avalanche going down, and I looked down, there must have been 1,000 feet, and I was hanging on looking down 1,000 feet with all kinds of fears starting to come up. Just, oh man, I'm gone now, there's no way out of this one. So I thought. But then I changed that. Now I'm using a metaphor here because I didn't even know that at that time, but I changed it to so it seems. There's got to be a way. See, and I knew there would be a way because I said so. So all of a sudden, out of the, it was just white ice and snow, but there was I thought it was a branch sticking up out of the, just a small little branch about like this sticking up out of the snow. And it was, I had to reach far enough to grab the branch. And I thought, well, as soon as I get it, I could, no, don't think that. As soon as you get it, you're safe. I had to keep going with the knowing that, hey, I'm the boss here. I'm not letting fear. Thank you for telling me where I'm at. I appreciate you. And in the future, I'll listen to you before I get on the side of an avalanche. But right now, I'm in trouble. So I grabbed the branch and I found out that it was a root of a tree. It wasn't a branch. And it was plenty of leverage so I could pull myself up and out of the situation. And that's when I made friends with my fear. Like, okay, sit in the back seat. If I need you, if I get too close to an edge, let me know. That's all I want to hear, that I'm close to the edge. And I'll take care of it. But don't try to frighten me, because I don't frighten much anymore. I used to be able to be frightened, but I'm not anymore because I don't accept it. I don't accept fear. I feel that everything is for our good, and all things always work out. So that the tax collector, when he comes up to your door with a big spiel and everything, is your friend. Because you're going to have to find a way to get out of that situation in just a few minutes to get him off your tail before other things will happen. And then you realize, well, I didn't pay that. I guess I better pay it before too much longer or they're going to do something. In other words, you can use fear to guide you as well. It's not the adversary that we want to make it sometimes. It's a good thing. That goes with all things are good.
If we find ourselves in fear, if we allow ourselves to go within to that inner self, it will guide us out of that fear. And what I'm speaking of is the first year Ralph and I were together. When you moved to Willits, he had all of his. He moved to Paradise. He had all of his papers there, and he was in Phoenix with me when they said within 30 days you had to pay a huge amount of back taxes, and this made no sense to him. But we had to make the trip up to Paradise and to find the papers. Our friend Dale here helped us a lot at that time. Remember that?
You with us, Dale?
No, he's asleep.
Okay.
Just think.
But anyway, we turned that fear around and not knowing exactly what we were going to do, because the IRS is after him for how much? I don't know. Was it
$150,000.
and he didn't know that. He knew that, but here they are saying, and they're pretty powerful, and we think they're pretty powerful.
But my knowing told me, no, I don't owe you a thing. You guys, I don't know what's happened here, but you're getting me active here in an area I don't want to be active in, kind of resist you, dodge you, or whatever. And so I had to squelch it somehow, and I called at that time, my former CPA, and told him the situation. He said, well, I'm gonna look at page 9 of the documents or something that he had sent me, and read it over carefully. I signed off everything when there was a divorce involved. And when I left the divorce, there was something like $80 million involved with the divorce. And because I didn't feel necessary, I lived in splendor for years, 15 years. But that was just because I was hiding in the shadows, according to you, Brian, that I was.
It was like he came out of the spaceship, and this was in 1960. People didn't want to know about it then. And you were crazy when you talked about it back then. So Ralph would do lectures or whatever, and that people wouldn't accept it. So I believe that this time in his life, the 15 years that he was with his previous wife, who was very wealthy, and I think that was an underground for him, and it was a very comfortable underground. So yeah, I feel like that's what happened. Who knows, but that's the way I feel. I look at the whole experience.
But looking at life from the end of the book, in other words, if you turn your life around right now and say it's all, and know that everything's already happened, everything's already done. If you take that idea, whether the brain likes it or not, calls you an idiot or not, doesn't matter. If you accept that concept and you say, well, here it comes, I'd really like to see that happen, and then let it go. When it's meant to happen, it's going to go, oh, here it is now. Oh yeah, good. It will just happen without you even realizing that was what you had thought of before you even thought of it. So
this is how we actually manifest things all the time. We don't even think about manifesting. We have to be careful of what we say we need, or we get abundance more than we need.
in the earlier practices of manifesting, which we're going to get into now, because we want to show you there's no division, there's no something out there. It's all here. It's all within us. We, just individually, we are the ultimate of everything. Period. There is nothing greater or less than who and what we are. We just forgot that, didn't realize that, or the media said we weren't.
Well, yeah, we're so
And we believe
programmed that we're nothing, that we have to work by the sweat of our brow, that we have to pay our taxes, we have to do this and this and this. I mean, we're programmed this way. Our parents, their parents. And now to say no, we're free beings, we're free like the birds. People say, you mean, one of the audiences we talked to said, do you want me to go quit my job tomorrow? And I said, if you really don't feel good in your job, think about it. But don't
Absolutely. Quit what you don't
yeah.
like, because as long as you don't like it, you're going to have to stay there
And trust
until
that
you
will.
change it.
We have to know that we are free beings. We are the masters that we've been searching for. We're them right now. We have to look at ourselves differently and accept that. We're one with anybody that we can look up to. We are that person, or we're more than that. Once we accept that, we can have all things, we can do all things.
But that brings us, okay.
I'd like to make a comment about, I think this is the greatest suppression on this planet from the beginning of the genesis of humanity, that we have been magnificent creator beings, and everything has been, we've lost this in the evolution, and everything is vying as a distraction to take our attention away from creating by showing us deliverable outcomes of Ain't It Awful. So it's all around us, there are all these other choices to do things other than to really be within and to create. It's always been there, and I think in ancient times we've manifested a heck of a lot more. We knew how to do it. We were one with nature and the elements. We had magicians, you had caste priests, you had shamans that knew how to work with the elemental energies. 8 directions, all kinds of energies to know how to manifest. So what happened to us over the last few thousand years, and especially now that we came into the industrial age, everything was to show us that we could not create our own realities. And now we're coming back, we're waking up to it and remembering we can have that, right? So wouldn't this be the greatest suppression that they don't want us to know? They've never wanted us to know that we can be the creators that we were meant to be and created for.
It's so beautiful when you stop and look at it. And we've just opened up to this where we're on Social Security, but we don't need it. We don't really want for much of anything. But we don't need a lot of things. I mean, we have
That's
to
real
let
freedom.
so many things go.
Downsizing and upsizing goes automatically according to our needs, not what our wants are. We don't go to want at all. It just happens. She one day said, I need a suitcase, but she said it was such vibrant vocal discourse that she meant it. She needed a suitcase. One afternoon later, people were bringing over suitcases. 5 suitcases.
I don't just need 1 or 2. I don't need any more. But we live in a very, very small place, and so in the summer, I pack my winter clothes in suitcases and put it under the house into a safe space. And that's when I felt like I needed another suitcase, and all of a sudden, I think it was within 2 days, and Ron back there was one of the guys that brought me a suitcase. Anyway, I mean, they just show up.
Yeah.
And so we need to know that.
Well,
Just be careful what you ask for, because when you accept it, it's going to be an abundance, and maybe we don't need it, the abundance of what you're asking for.
and part of this workshop today is to somehow instill the fact that we don't have to go anywhere anymore. We don't have to do anything anymore. We don't have to like anything anymore that we don't feel like. That we don't have to, we're already where we need to be, or we wouldn't be here. This is, at this moment in time, space, where we need to be, or we wouldn't be here. The ideas that we try to resist is the adversaries that I've aforementioned, and the people, places, and things that might seem to impede our progress in growing. If you embrace them and give them energy for who and what they are, thank you for being my adversary. I really appreciate that, but I don't need you. I was laying out in our garden. We live in Paradise, and we happen to live on Eden Street, and we happen to have a garden, the fern garden in the front of our house. There's a little garden, and I put, because I have to advocate solar energy and all kinds of free energy, I put solar collectors around the garden so they collect the sun. These are the collectors, and then and what I was doing was putting rope lights along the pathways in our garden. And so the collector is just a small little globe, and I was putting them in a sequential way that the sun would catch them at a certain time of day that I thought would be most appropriate. A lady comes up and she says, "Oh, you're doing that all wrong. You've got to separate those so they can have space to breathe and grow. They'll never work that way." So right away, I said, well, she doesn't understand the full situation. This is just the collector. The lights are out there. Where I put the lights is different than where the collector is. So I had the opportunity to open a conversation and enlighten her on what I was really doing or not, but because in the interest of time, I just said, "Oh, thank you very much. That's something to think about." And I let it go and passed it off. She was happy that I thanked her, And I was happy that she went away. So, but,
Manifesting.
huh?
Manifesting.
Oh, manifesting. Well, anyway, we started there, and now we're at a point where our consciousness, by our own say-so, is magnificently abundant multidimensionally. We don't accept the third dimension as being anything but a small sliver of life. In other words, this is a table and this is a bottle in the third dimension. But Marsha and I can look at it instantly and say, isn't that a lovely flower, or a lovely... We can change our perception. And when you change your perception, you're changing your views, and when you change your views, you're changing your life. And so when you look at things with benevolence, with love, you can affect a change. And even like I just said to the lady, thank you, oh God, that's great. In other words, it appeased her because she was being polite and nice and trying to help. And I didn't want any more to do with it because I was busy. I just said thank you, and we're in control. Sometimes we forget that, and we get into a conversation we wish we hadn't, and it'll go on for hours if you don't stop it somewhere. So, no, there's getting back to manifesting, changing your world. There's a word, and this is on some of my tapes. It's on the website too. Different things are on the website that I may be rehashing here, so please bear with me. But one of the tools that you can use in changing your outside world, the way you look at it, the perception, the way you look at things, and seeing a change within yourself, seeing an emotional change within yourself happen right now. This is what I'm going to present to you. It's just one word, and you'll see a change if you allow yourself to relax and see how you take this word. The word is depressed. Depressed. Depression. Now that's kind of a shadowy, not comfortable feeling when you say that, until you look at it in a multi-dimensional way, different perception of the word. Wait a minute. I've seen people depressed, but I don't accept that, because I asked the guy, are you really depressed? And he came back at me, man, I'm in a deep rest. Leave me alone. I've had it with the outside world. When I'm dang good and ready, I'll come back out and see you. But right now, leave me alone. In other words, it's self-created, a deep rest. Get out of the turmoil or had it with the outside world. So you're going into deep rest. But notice the feeling that you have with depressed or deep rest. One is a downer and the other is an upper. Well, that's how you've changed your view, your perception. Oh, wow, deep rest. Oh, wow, I don't have to ever worry about depression again. I mean, it's up to you to phrase it in the way that you care to, but it's that easy. The way, when I was in Hawaii, a benevolent being came to me and said, it's time for you to learn about word sculpture. And I said, what in the world are you talking about? She said, I haven't got time to fool with you. Now listen to this. You take the words and split them down and look at them more carefully. And so we've been splitting words, dis-ease, and oh gosh, there's so many words. In fact, my good friend in the back, Mike Miller, gave us a word the other day. Can you repeat that word that you gave me in reference to what we're talking about?
The word opportunity. We use it all the time. And along the way, someone broke that down for me in a song. And it's basically like saying a port to unity.
A port to unity. Look how beautiful that makes it feel. Wow! A port to unity.
I heard somebody say opportunity when it knocks means it's working. So, you know, when opportunity knocks, it's working. You know, there's an opportunity. We all have opportunities. What I found, I'm kind of curious about manifestation, what I found that works for me is I have the intent, and then I get out of my way and let it happen. We block ourselves all the time. Like, oh, I got to do this first, I can't do this, oh, I can't do this. You know, I found when I get out of my way and just hold the intent, then it manifests. That works very well.
And sometimes when you outline too, you're in your own way.
Right.
You know, and
Well, I hear Marsha all the time when she's going about her daily living, talking to herself, saying, "Shut up, Marsha, I don't want to hear that. I can do it." She's reprogramming herself from the, "Oh, I can't do that," and she's telling herself, "Shut up." And that's reprogramming yourself to "I can." And the word "can't" is a downer because it puts a knot, a big knot on the end of the word can. Cannot. When you take that knot and untie it, like the Gordian knot, then you have that feeling again, whoa, I'm feeling good, I can do anything. Opposed to